Welcome back to Spies and Sabotage, the Dota University hosted tournament with a twist. We are back for our final game of the evening, the North American lower bracket finals between Jakiros, Third Head, and Medium Bots. We're going to jump right into it because it is getting very late and it's been a very long day. Our two randomly rolled rules for this match will be social distancing, where both teams must pick a 5 ranged lineup, and neuter, where neither team may use or equip neutral items. I assume that when you drop them, you just have to leave them on the floor. So that'll be interesting. That'll be nice and easy though, because they won't be standing in the camp. They'll all be ranged.
Interesting. Well, I think it might be allowed that you can potentially pick them up, put them in your backpack to complete the contracts. And this is the perfect time to complete a contract where you give away your neutral items.
That's a very fair point. That's a great idea. Getting a couple of extra spies at this point, you're in lower bracket, meaning that whoever moves on is going to need to spend here and get as much as they can for the next game.
Especially the contract that requires the two teams to cooperatively trade neutral items. Now is the time. Both teams will cooperate.
Well,
Sure.
they have in the past few games accumulated some spies already to be spent on sabotages. Let's see what is available for this elimination match. Our Tier 1 sabotage will be Item Embargo. Choose a 1,000 plus gold item. The enemy team is not allowed to purchase it. Our Tier 2 sabotage will be Cold Feet. The selected enemy hero cannot buy boots for the duration of the game. This can be extremely damaging to some very slow heroes. Sabotage of the third tier will be Tax Collector. Costing 3 spies, you can force everyone on the enemy team to donate a tango and a sentry to the mid player, who is not allowed to give them back. And finally, at Tier 4, we have Hero Selection. The purchasing team may select any one hero, excluding Arc Warden, Meepo, Invoker, or Chen. The enemy must first pick this hero.
Oh, I have been waiting for this sabotage to come up. This is a very exciting one.
Yeah, we have a lot of sabotages this game that really force the enemy team to concede a lot of flexibility in their own gameplay. And so, what do you two see this evolving into? Over the whole match with the social distancing, so all ranged, no neutral items, and the available sabotages.
I think Cold Feet is a big deal. With all ranged heroes, having no boots is going to be a problem for somebody.
Oh, absolutely. That's the first thing that I was thinking, is that combination right there is going to just be absolutely brutal. Additionally, Item Embargo, BKB, that just feels like a match made in heaven for a single spy.
Mm-hmm. I'm looking at this, and it looks like medium bots have 4 spies available, and Jakiro's Third Head have 11. So that's a pretty big advantage, potentially, for Jakiro's Third Head.
And additionally, you can have hero selection to really throw a wrench into these teams. There's some pretty difficult ranged heroes out there. I'm thinking Visage, I'm thinking Lone Druid, and forcing a player on their team into one of those heroes can definitely create a pretty big change of momentum.
Yeah, absolutely. We got a ruling that apparently the item embargo cannot target BKB. It can target anything else.
Okay.
But not BKB. So that's a little bit too busted, but it can target Blink Dagger, which I think would be great if it weren't all ranged heroes.
What about things like components? I mean, if you get Ogre Axe, that's 1,000 gold. It goes into BKB. It goes into Sange. Which goes into Halberd.
We could ask for a ruling on that. My guess is that you wouldn't be able to use the component, but you could still buy the full item
around it,
going past it.
I can respect that.
That could be pretty inconvenient for some items that require good build-up, though.
something like the, or even something crazy like a Sacred Relic.
Sure.
That
Go ahead,
cuts
Astro.
off the approach point to Radiance, to Nullifier, and to the Divine Rapier.
So we do have coming in from our two teams their selected purchases. The sabotages that these teams will be going into the match with are both hero selection.
All right,
Oh,
what if
I
they-
can't believe these teams didn't pick up Cold Feet. Well, I guess medium bots couldn't afford it, but Jakiros third head could have. All right,
But,
so we're getting a little bit of reverse captains mode in an otherwise normal game.
So I have a question for you.
Yeah?
Backs against the wall. Lower bracket finals. Elimination on the line. You are Jakiro's third head. You have money to spend.
11
do you agree with this
spies, and
decision?
they chose to spend only 4 of them. I think if you had like really low value from the other sabotages, maybe, but Cold Feet is 2 spies and seems really strong to me.
Item embargo as well is just ridiculous. You're cutting off an item from the entire enemy team. You get something like Heaven's Halberd, then you can get a Sven, you can get a Huskar, you can get, or not a Sven, you have to play ranged heroes, but you can get Huskar or Drow and have that go completely uncontested.
The other thing you can do, if you're playing ranged heroes, you're probably playing spellcasters. What if you just tell the other team they can't have a pipe?
Precisely.
I think
But,
an item embargo for 1 spy could be really useful.
I think really what this means for Jakiro's third head is they have to feel confident. And I think that they believe, whether it's true or not, that they're going to be able to take this game pretty handily. And I wonder if that kind of arrogance is going to gonna come back and bite them, or if that's the kind of thing that, like, maybe they just don't see the value in some of these other things. But we're talking about Cold Feet, item embargo. These are valuable. How can you pass it up?
Yeah, we'll see how they do without him. I'm really interested to think what heroes are they going to choose with this hero selection. Both teams have to make a choice. The removed heroes were, I believe, Chen, Invoker.
Not even Invoker. Invoker's fair game. It's Chen, Meepo. Trying to think of what else there was, but I know that Invoker was fair game.
No, I'm like 80% that Invoker's not. Let's see the thing.
Oh no, I'm sorry, you're right. It is Arc Warden,
Arc
Meepo,
Warden.
Invoker, Chen.
Okay, Arc Warden is the one we were forgetting there. So if those are not allowed, that means Io is in the list.
Mhm.
I think that's got to be a prime choice, lowest win rate hero in Dota.
And especially with ranged heroes, what kind of ranged hero would you want to pair with Io to get that relocation mobility? There's not anything I can think of.
Oh, Techies is available. Do you force the other team to play Techies, then you have to play against it? Maybe not.
I can't imagine, like, I wouldn't want to play against it, though, because, like, Techies is one of those heroes that's surprisingly easy to be effective on, at least in a manner that is, like, annoying enough.
I'm thinking, like, what if you would force the other team to pick a Viper with 275 move speed and then said no boots?
Exactly.
Oh, you could be so rude comboing a hero choice with the no boots. But sadly, that's not what we're going to see.
What do you think about neutered? I mean, cutting out the neutral items, is that going to make an impact on either of these teams?
It means even less movement speed options. Let's check out what the contracts are, though.
Absolutely.
So both Radiant and Dire selected a contract that we have not yet seen, and I'm very excited to see. And that contract is Great Migration. Both Radiant and Dire have opted to form a group of 5 and run the length of the river, hoping at least one of them survive.
Well, that sounds like fun.
Yeah, it sounds like entertainment is what it sounds like. So Radiant took Great Migration. They also took one additional contract, and that will be color coordination. They must all pick heroes that share a color.
If it's ranged heroes, I'm going to guess they're going blue.
I think that's the only option you have. All ranged and all blue. That's going to be brutal.
They could go green. We'll see.
For Dire, they, again, took Great Migration. In addition to that, they took next level bait. where the hero with the longest cooldown has to waste it on a creep wave. We haven't really seen this be super impactful. I think the most exciting one we saw was a creep wave echo slam. That's the coolest one. I'm still waiting for my creep wave black hole one day. And then the final contract selected for the Dire will be fair trade. So they are going to offer the other team a swap of their tier 3 neutral items. If both teams swap all 4 items, they both get 3 spies. If either team disagrees, both get the -1 failure penalty.
Yeah,
And
I
so-
was hoping we would get this one. This one seems pretty important in a game where neutral items aren't allowed.
We
It
are
seems-
moving on to the draft, though. So.
It seems really easy to pull off, though. It feels like you wouldn't have to do much convincing.
Right, it's the perfect time for it.
I think that it kind of depends on if you're winning or losing. Taking this is a huge prisoner's problem, because if you're losing, then this means that you just get to remove 1 spy from them for the end.
This almost seems like textbook game theory.
Yeah.
Well, this is the loser's bracket. If you're going to lose, there's no reason to...
Yeah, if you're going to lose, take them down with you. Likewise, if you're winning too hard when those tier 3 items come in, they're not going to swap.
All right, well, we do have a draft, so let's get into it. Right off the bat, TA is banned. We're going to see only ranged heroes here. Viper.
I want to see... Oh, they're picking Visage and Wisp for the ranged heroes as what they're passing off to each other.
Oh boy, Visage and Wisp. I think the team that chose IO is immediately at the advantage here. And
Definitely.
it looks like that is... it's going to be the medium bots who chose to give IO to Jakiros' third head.
Visage is an incredibly powerful hero if you can play him correctly. It's just not easy to play well.
Yeah, and it may be that they can't play him very well, but, I mean, just Wisp being the lowest win rate here in Dota, it's very hard to believe that that hero will succeed.
And again, I just have to try and think of what heroes you're going to want to pair with the Wisp, with the IO, to get that relocate and just move into different positions. Maybe Enigma. I could see IO Enigma being nasty.
That's a pretty good call. I mean, most of the good IO partners are melee heroes who are tanky and can use the regen. How are these teams going to frontline? Like, an Enigma would be perfect, 'cause you need someone who will just go in. I'd also like to see, like, a Phoenix.
Phoenix would be great. The Troll Warlord is another hero I was thinking of, but he's been banned out. Likewise with the Viper, very tanky ranged hero. I think we're going to see a lot of blood or none at all. This is going to be either just everyone being squishy and Superman-y towards each other, or everyone playing super far away and just not able to close the gap.
So one interesting thing I'd like to bring up is that Dire has forced Radiant's hand in the IO pick. So Radiant doesn't get much of a choice as to what colors they want to coordinate with.
Oh!
Radiant were the color coordinators, so does IO count as blue?
I think I'd call that blue.
I'd call that white or blue.
I was going to say,
options.
if you want to be generous, you could say white, and you know, there's a little bit of every color in
That's
it.
still white or blue.
Wow.
They got
They
a
are
very
committed.
solid color theme through the first 2 heroes, at least.
Jakiro's third head really playing Mr. Worldwide on this. They've got Io with a global presence, and you've got Ancient Apparition also with global presence. If they want to break their theme, they could also bring out Nature's Prophet and literally have all 4 or 5 of their heroes anywhere they want.
Yeah, it might be worth giving up on the contract just for that purpose. But boy, what a bold move to try to commit to a color theme while the other team is picking your first hero.
At the same time, though, I think that they recognize how many blue ranged heroes there are, so
And there are a
gives you
lot of them.
pretty good opportunity.
Yeah, now that they've gotten Io, which can be considered blue, they're probably fine to complete that contract.
Weaver and Wyvern banned out, so even banning blue heroes as Jakiro's third head, I think that they're pretty confident in what they're going to do. I think we're going to see Jakiro?
They'd love to pick it. They had success with it before. We'll see.
Banning out Razor, another blue hero.
Yeah. If the Dire knew that the Radiant were trying to go for all blue, that would probably help them. But if it really comes down to it, they can fail the contract. They still have like 8 leftover spies.
Exactly. Their economy is looking fantastic on Jakiro's third head. And medium bots, if they come out of this, they're only going to have the spies that they make during this game. They're on a very tight economy.
Okay, the Drow Ranger ban. Did we ever get a ruling on whether Lone Druid was allowed? Because if so, Lone Druid Visage would be a very nasty combo.
I feel like Lone Druid would be a ranged hero, but I don't know if they're considering him ranged or melee.
I think he should count as a ranged hero, because he is a ranged hero.
Exactly.
I mean, even if he can transform to melee, but I think that could be like the perfect hero here because you desperately need frontline. Having the Visage Birds helps a bit, but a Lone Druid Bear would be fantastic.
The ruling is that LD is ranged, so it would be a possibility. I like the Storm ban here as well. I think... my first thought was like, oh, hey, get the Void Spear. Oh, wait, no, he's a melee hero.
Yeah, can't do it.
Oh.
Alright, Crystal Maiden, still nothing tanky, nothing that hits buildings on Jakiro's third head, and that's a third support in the Crystal Maiden.
Maybe
is that a carry Crystal Maiden, maybe?
Possible. I would really like to see Jakiro's third head, because of the fact they have the Ancient Apparition, I want to see them pick Huskar.
Ah, that would kill their color theme, but maybe it's worth it.
That is true. That is... Well, he's kind of like
Huskar
a greenish blue skin. He's like a blue
I think that's
skin.
stretching it. Morphling, that's a great choice for a ranged hero who can sort of frontline. He gets so much HP. Luna also, a ranged hero who can just stand in the middle of the fight and be reasonably survivable.
Trying to think what else. So, I guess the next question is, are we going to see the Visage in the mid lane or on a support?
That's a real tough call. I mean, it really just depends on who knows how to play Visage. If they know how to play Visage mid, look how strong they can hit against buildings with the Visage Birds, the Venge Aura, and Luna. These buildings will melt.
I love the functional first pick of the Venge. Because of the fact that you have all ranged heroes, it only makes so much sense to have a Vengeful Spirit.
Yeah, and medium bots having the first opportunity to pick after the first forced picks, they take probably the most valuable ranged hero in the bench. And the Jakiro is taken away from Jakiro's third head.
So we've got Jakiro's heads fighting against each other. The two main heads fighting against their third. A house divided against itself. A dragon divided against itself cannot stand.
Oh no. And what we're seeing also, all four heroes on the Dire are so good at hitting buildings. On the Radiant, it's just Morphling.
I am actually terrified of medium bots. Their tower hitting is so tremendous. If you literally are just moments away from a tower at any point in time, the entire thing is gone.
Yeah, Radiant are going to need to have a big lead in order to actually take buildings and put this game away. Unless they can pick a good blue ranged hero that hits buildings. And Jakiro out of the pool, Luna out of the pool, that looks looking pretty hard.
What do you think about medium bots picking up a Venomancer?
That could be pretty solid. It kind of depends on what role they're looking for. I guess probably at this point the Visage will be mid, but they need an offlaner. Venomancer fits that role. Good Spirit Vessel builder against the Morphling as well.
Yeah. And it's not necessarily tanky, but he doesn't mind being up front and dying.
Yeah, that's true. He can frontline, and it's like, yeah, okay, you killed our offlane Venomancer, and then Luna cleans up everyone.
Yeah, I really like that as a last pick. I think we need to see Jakiro's third head ban it, if they read this right.
Oh man, it's such a shame that the one game where like Grove Bow and Enchanted Quiver would be like, super high value, and you can't have them.
That really is a shame. They're not ban out the Grimstroke instead. Whatever. I guess you'd be kind of afraid of. Oh, a Clinks. That is another tower hitter.
That's another tower hitter, and look at the targets. Io, Ancient Apparition, Crystal Maiden, they're all gonna melt to this Clinks. The physical damage output with Venge Aura. Oh my goodness. Luna and Clinks are both gonna be so scary.
Alright, I'm already ready to call this one just by the draft. Unless there's a complete steamroll in the lane, I think this one's going to go away to medium bots. The last pick cannot convince me.
Yeah, this is looking really bad. Last up, they take Leshrac. Okay, that solves a lot of their problems. Leshrac is the frontliner. He runs in. He'll have a BKB. He has Diabolic Edict to take out the towers. This Leshrac has a lot to offer to the Radiant lineup. But
At the
is it
same time,
enough?
though, the entire team of Jakiro's third head is resting on that Leshrac, on Cat 666. So if Leshrac doesn't win the lane, if Leshrac gets beat up, or just can't perform under a certain fight, the entire thing falls apart.
So far, Wiz has been playing offlane, right? And Cement is carry?
I believe you're correct.
So this could be an offlane Morphling and a carry IO. We'll see how that goes.
I guess how does Morphling stack against Luna? Because I'm expecting to see the Luna in the mid lane, or in the safe lane.
Yeah, it might be a pretty good matchup. I mean, Morphling can sustain through all the Lucent Beam harass.
And then, are we gonna see Visage or Clinks in the mid lane?
Oh, that's also a good call. I'm gonna guess that Visage goes to the offlane, because they don't really have an offlaner in this lineup.
And you can get Soul Assumption like crazy if you pair it with Jakiro or with Venge.
Yeah, Visage will be happier in a dual lane, at least until he hits level 6.
I could almost even see them, if they really wanted to be aggressive, tri-laning those two supports with the Visage and just trying to have 1,000,000 points of damage that you can throw out there at any point in time.
I don't know, leaving your Luna all alone might be pretty scary.
Would be pretty sketch, it just depends.
Yeah,
But
we'll
we're
see
gonna
what they do.
Jump into this action. This is the tournament life on the line for both these teams, Medium Bots and Jakiro's third head.
Oh man, this is going to be a very exciting matchup. They got
We're gonna
tricky lineups, but they'll try to make it work.
look like Morphling's actually lined up to go mid, Cement going to the safe lane, and I think we're gonna see Cat 666 in the off lane.
Oh, they're trying something weird. I'm okay with it.
4 heroes crowding the
This
bottom
is
side of the
5
map.
heroes. They're all running in looking for first blood.
Yeah, this is gonna be first blood attempt. Grave Chill.
Oh no, they're doing migration!
Oh, they
The
are
Grave
running the migration!
is going! They're doing it before rune spawn.
That's actually brilliant.
The other team's not going to try to stop them.
And they're going to be ending it right at the point of going to the bounty rune at the top.
Oh,
That's
this is a great
actually
play.
brilliant.
This is a team that's sitting on 0 spies. They need to get them back, and they're making a move right away.
We were joking before last game about Garlic being the gym teacher who's making people do laps when they fail to stay in jail. And now, they're doing laps on the river.
And they show up right in time to zone away the bounty rune. Oh, this is fantastic.
Great double stun from the Leshrac. That Split Earth doing a little bit of work. They're going to keep going in, though, just trying to chase down either of these heroes. That Grave Chill holding Cats down for a moment. They get a long-range magic missile. Now Cats has to retreat through the mid lane. No, juking around the tower and will make it to safety. TP is going out, and they're retreating to their respective lanes. We will see Visage in the mid lane.
Okay, so something really bad happened for the Dire there. Because they decided to go from the bottom of the river to the top, they missed out on their own safe bounty rune. The Radiant players were able to sneak into the Dire Triangle and take the bounty rune. And also, the Vengeful Spirit now has stun leveled up level 1. Which means Venge is not going to be very strong. No aura and no wave of terror early on is a really big problem.
Their first abilities are still unbound.
Oh, they forgot.
The last game they played, they weren't allowed to use their first ability. So...
They'll figure it out. We'll be back in a minute, I guess. They'll figure it out.
I guess let's take a moment to think about the lane matchups and where we expect this to go, because the sabotages and the rules, aside from the neutral items, aren't going to affect the rest of the gameplay, only the draft. So
yeah, the neutral items is the only thing we have left. Apart from contracts, of course.
And otherwise, this is just a pretty vanilla game of Dota.
I mean, we'll see if they know how to play this Visage and get the push lineup. I mean, the Dire could just blitz down towers before this IO and Morphling come online and are ready to fight.
But I guess my curiosity is just, where do you think the lane strengths and weaknesses are going to fall? with these matchups, what lanes do you think are going to work well for medium bots, and what lanes do you think are going to work well for Jakiros' third head?
Well, let's look at it one lane at a time. I think, first of all, that this Clinks ought to do pretty well against Io, but then again, I'm not super experienced on how Io carry performs in lane. I would tend to think not very good.
I'm inclined to agree. I don't think that it's necessarily the strongest laner.
On the other side of the map, we have a Leshrac versus Luna.
They might actually get that first blood. No.
Oh, just barely can't get to the Venge. I would tend to say Venge Luna's a pretty solid lane, but it's not like a lane dominator. Like, Luna probably gets by, but I don't think that Luna can harass the Leshrac all that badly.
I think that once Luna gets to level 4 or 5, the lane shifts and becomes much stronger for the Dire. But until then, I think that you're going to have a pretty okay lane for the Jakiros' third head. Additionally, if you do manage to get a Split Earth, that can follow up with a Chilling Cold Feet with Ancient Apparition, and that's a pretty strong combo to get a good chance of a kill.
I think the mid lane is easily the most unbalanced. Morphling should be pretty strong early on. With that attribute shift, he has infinite health, whereas Visage is quite weak until level 6.
Visage will become probably the strongest here on the map if he can make it cleanly to 6, so I guess it just comes down to, will Wiz be able to bully the Visage around?
Alright, this
In the
Vengeful Spirit
bot lane,
has reached level 2.
they're moving on, putting a lot of damage out on the Io. Io retreating to under tower, will survive, but both of the Radiant heroes are very low on health.
Oh,
and now,
no. Io used
salving
salve
up
while not tethered.
Without the tether.
Feels so bad for Crystal Maiden. She's almost needs to salve herself because she didn't get the bonus regen.
Oh no. That is damage onto Clinks, though.
This Clinks is doing so much damage that like he can afford to take some damage. Although he could use an extra set of tangos, I guess.
We'll see him use the ones that he's got, and I think that he's going to have a couple of... Oh, first blood in the top lane.
Yep, Ancient Apparition going down just to the physical damage of Luna and Venge. They're pretty scary, and the minus armor from Venge is pretty potent.
Especially because of the fact you have the double aura in that lane. Lunar Blessing going to give the base damage bonus, which combines very nicely with the armor shred.
Okay, I'm interested to see who can become survivable this game. I feel like it's going to be a really difficult game of just everyone being so squishy that they just die. Like, Clinks just goes down very casually.
Morphling is going to definitely be very survivable. Visage becomes survivable.
Morphling is the best bet.
And I think maybe Jakiro. I think those are going to be our beefiest heroes in the game.
The Soul Assumption doing no damage when not used at the correct moment.
Yeah, you gotta hold on to that a little bit. Visage is one of my favorite heroes, but he is incredibly hard to play. He takes so much focus.
Yeah. I mean, if you don't know exactly what you're doing with the hero, then it's not going to work.
Morphling very, very close to the edge, just dancing on that knife's edge with his strength morphing.
He's got just enough health to survive one right click, which is all he needs.
And with 12 armor, those right clicks really don't do too much.
No, as long as he can stay in Agi, he's happy.
And just manipulating his stats masterfully.
I mean, he's getting the last hits. The Visage is half as many last hits.
Continuously shifting up after each attack that he takes. This is beautiful to watch. But in doing so, we will miss the kill onto the Vengeful Spirit in the top lane.
Yeah, the Venge not having the best time, but Luna's doing all right. Luna is second on the net worth chart and actually having a pretty good time here. I think it's not the biggest deal for Venge to die.
Arcane Rune on the Visage in the mid lane, but it doesn't have a bottle, doesn't have a lot of regen or mana, so not going to be able to do too much. In fact, I think that Visage is going to have a hard time using crows, or using birds at level 6 unless he gets some mana coming out just now.
Yeah, that's a good point. He is not prepared.
The bottom lane looks like Clinks is having a little bit of a rough time farming.
Yeah, for all that I talked about how Clinks with Searing Arrows should be able to harass Io a lot, he just hasn't been using them. Clinks should not be on full mana, but he's just not spending his mana on harassing. Like, Crystal Maiden should be taking so much damage.
Gonna be moving forward now. Does pop the searing arrows, starting to utilize them. Yeah, Skeleton walk forward, also using strafe, but Jakiro taking a ton of damage. Will they be able to close the gap and bring him down? Auto attacks coming out. Cement trying to finish it off. No spirits out, and now Cement very, very low on health. Cutting into the woods. Crystal Maiden trying to do more damage. Bloomer specializing in this hero.
Clinks. He used Skeleton Walk early, so he doesn't have it now for the movement speed while chasing Clinks. Finally, it comes off cooldown. But if he goes for the IO, he might just die because he doesn't have Invis available. Using Invis in the middle of the fight really hurt him there.
I really wish that Cement would take the moment to read IO's abilities and understand the regen link on Tether.
Yeah,
because
not understanding that will make your IO game pretty difficult.
We do
Luna
see
doing so much damage. They almost get another kill.
Both of them being low, but that is going to just completely drive PTO out of the top lane. Has to walk back to base.
They still have tangos going too. They're not out of regen on this top lane.
Looks like Venge is going to go and stack pool in that lane. A little bit too late on the stack, so just going to be returning and trying to assist, as Katz is not going to be able to put any pressure onto Wii.
Okay, Visage, normally a hero that loves to take tower early on, loses a familiar and is taking damage on the tier 1 mid.
Yeah, this is definitely a case of just having a difficult time controlling the hero. That bird, so low on health, they haven't dropped it yet. Need to drop the bird. Bird is going to go down. That is a lot of gold for the Morphling. That's going to skyrocket his net worth.
This Visage is not up on the micro of the birds, not healing them when they get low, and loses both. I think both teams are really suffering from being forced to play heroes that they don't understand.
It's extremely difficult, and I think that this Morphling is going to be the one way back into the game for Jakiro's third head, if they have a chance to come back into it at all.
Oh, the Venge just barely gets away from the cold feet. This
Split
fight
Earth
on the
coming
top
up
lane
short.
could go either way. Oh, the
Lucent
Luna
beam,
is
and
gonna come
down
on top.
goes the Flash. Magic
And they're
missile
gonna
out.
get the other kill as well. This top lane is starting to look real scary for the Radiant.
A couple of spirits onto bot Dendi, but he's putting out so much damage with those searing arrows. Both the heroes for Jakiro's third head in the bottom lane is forced to retreat. They do have the tether going now, so that might give them a little bit of extra regen.
Unfortunately, the IO is already out of all his consumable regen. Soaring doesn't help very much.
Not in the slightest. Morphling taking tower damage, but just shrugging it off with his attribute shift.
And he's got the Morbid Mask at this point. He is perfectly happy. No regen problems there.
No mana on Visage for birds once more. Still about 30 mana short, and even then we've seen him have some trouble controlling them, so I don't think that Wiz is in any trouble in the mid lane.
Yeah, this Luna's having a pretty good time, but Clink struggling and Visage being kind of behind after a tough lane. This Luna has a huge burden to carry the Dire team through the mid game.
One of the things that we're also seeing is that
Oh, Morphling's gonna die! He's gone way too far, but they don't have a TP cancel. They do!
They do
Then
the
Maiko the
birds! Bring him
birds!
down!
The bird Maiko showed up, but the
He's gonna waveform away.
waveform
He's
is
gonna
off
survive this.
cooldown. Unbelievable, and he's right back up. He's healthy again, just like that.
Incredible. Canceling the TP, but not able to bring him down. Now he's going to waveform forward, attempt to go on the Visage. Visage needs to control the birds, needs to drop one.
Soul Assumption.
Soul Assumption could kill it. So close, but
He's
down
not
goes one of the
even
birds.
trying. Oh, so close.
Morphling just netting 100 more gold off of that exchange. Bounties come up. They are going to be going, looks like an equal split. Half and half.
Yeah, Dire are going to need to find some source of additional damage because they took so long trying to kill Morphling that he was able to waveform away.
Morphling pushing the mid lane. He's got 3 heroes on him once more.
Trying again.
Waveform available. Waveform's away.
Doesn't get very far. He's only got 400 health left. And he's going to go
finally
down.
goes down.
In the meantime, though, Clinks falls in the bottom lane.
I'm wondering if we're going to see the medallion out of Visage. It tends to be a very common pickup for that hero, but it depends on if you know how to use the hero. It's like a bit of a trade secret, I guess you'd say.
Yeah, it's looking like Phase Boots into Medallion is the choice. Just queued it up. Let's see if he's going to put real pressure onto this tower. Oh, he doesn't have any familiars. No.
Yeah, counterattack in the bottom lane. Looks like they're going to let the pressure subside and just farm out the creeps under their tower.
The cool down on the Visage familiars.
Oh, top
so
lane.
Bad.
Yeah, Cold Feet out onto the Vengeful Spirit, but they managed to bring down the Leshrac, and that's going to end the engagement.
This Luna is 5-0-0. She is getting real strong.
Hey, there's the wasted Eclipse on the lane.
Yeah, there it is. I would have rather seen that at level 6, but even at level 9, it's early enough that losing out on an Eclipse doesn't hurt you that much, except right now when you might have gotten a kill in the Ancient Apparition.
Morphling is pushed in the mid tower and is now rotating possibly towards the bottom lane. Gonna take the Ancients while he's just chilling here. No, he's gonna get collapsed on. There's 3 heroes around him. He's gonna need to waveform if they move a little bit further.
Morphling
scouting
has
it out.
Keen Optic for some reason. He is not allowed to have that mana regen right now.
Man fight between Clinks and Morphling. This is going very strongly.
In time. That was close. Do we have anyone else using neutral items right now? No, it's just the Morphling. He needs to get rid of this Keen Optic and Royal Jelly as quickly as possible.
Ping that out. Hopefully the administrators will pick up on it. Morphling going in again.
It might be that they have to wait for the 2-minute delay before they hear us talk about it.
Possibly, we'll see.
Clinks with the backpack boots, not getting the full value out of those, but he's going in for an invis smoke attempt on this IO.
What? The dominated troll! Helm of the Dominator on the IO. Now Crystal Maiden ultimate doing a great job. Going to take down Bot Dendi, barely saving Cement, and also will take out the Clinks.
Oh, that was so close. The swap to cancel the CM ult was great, but it came out just a little too late, and the IO is just survivable enough with his Helm of the Dominator.
Roxy Roro salving up behind the tower, trying to hold a little bit longer. We might see a Macropyre, but I think he's going to hold it and wait for the next creep wave and maybe macro that.
This Morphling is doing a great job coming up here. This top tier 1 is full health, but it's not going to stay that way. Once Morphling and Leshrac come after it, it's going to go right on down. This is the Radiant team we said would struggle with taking buildings.
Diabolic Edict is only level 1 at the moment. So, not doing a ton of damage to buildings, and Morphling TPing to the mid lane to try and save his tier 1 from the Visage using the Familiars.
Alright, here comes the Luna in the bottom lane, and she's quite strong with Morbid Mask and Yasha on the courier. But they see her coming, and the IO looks pretty safe here under the tower.
They're forcing Wiz to destroy the Observer Ward because he was using a neutral item.
I think that's a fair trade.
This IO, I really like the Dominated Troll. We've gotten some value out of that already, and I just think it's a really, really clever move.
Yeah, I mean, just having a large creep at this stage of the game is powerful, and yet another ranged unit fighting in this game, but it fits. It's doing a good job.
That is going to be them losing the tier 1 tower bot, though.
But by this point, mid and top are already so strongly pushed in. The top tower went down so much faster than the bottom one did.
And you have 2 of the strongest pushing heroes in this game on those tier 2 towers. They haven't really put damage out on it yet, but we're going to see Leshrac pop Diabolic Edict level 2 in the top lane. And if he needs to, he can just chill behind the trees. Yeah, he's doing that right now, just waiting behind the trees, letting the Edict do all the work.
Oh, I wish this was a level 4 Diabolic Edict.
Now it's time to run. You got the PP coming in. He doesn't know it's there. He's just going to be chilling there. In comes the Luna. Now you're seeing you're caught under the tower. There's the Eclipse. A bit of a overkill response, but
Dies
down.
so fast, he doesn't even get the split earth animation off. Brutal. Uh-oh. That's a bad place to be for the Venge.
moving in, trying to collapse onto the Luna now. You've got 3 heroes in the top lane. They just brought down the Venge. Now Luna doesn't have TP available, is just ducking into the trees to try and escape this gank.
In the meantime, just a Glyph and an IO is enough to defend the mid tower from Visage push. 16 minutes in with the mid tower still up is really bad for a Visage game.
But we are going to see the Macropyre Ice Path. Now the Chilling Touch IO is going to fall here. They're TPing into the mid lane to reinforce it with Wiz's Morphling. He's going to bring
the
down...
dominated Hellbear. That's an extra 200 gold.
They lost one of the birds just out over the mid lane. That's another 100 gold going the way of the Radiant. There's a 3k net worth swing in favor of Radiant so far, but there's a sandwich attack right now. Visage is going to fall. The birds are still up. Klink's doing a ton of damage on the sideline, but is going to get brought down by the Cold Feet and by the Chilling Touch from the Ancient Apparition. And now it looks like Roxy Roro is going to fall underneath of his tier 2 tower, and this is going to open up the push for Jakiro's third head.
Yeah, what we're seeing here is that the Radiant are playing with their strongest hero. They're playing with the Morphling in the fights. Luna is nowhere to be seen. She had no TP, so she spent that whole fight on the other side of the map.
And Luna's not even getting a tower out of this either. You've pushed the wave across, you've gotten some farm, a little bit of money, but in the meanwhile, you're about to lose your tier 2. We're going to see this Diabolic Edict start up, level 3 now. We're going to see the Morphling starting to ping away at this tower. You're going to bring heroes in. You've got the Magic Missile. Oh my god, the Morphling might fall!
Get his morph. Oh, he gets his morph off in time, and he's going to be dead.
Dead!
Wow. He stopped his strength morph. He had it going. He stopped it and then got stunned by the Ice Path.
Yeah, he thought he was safe, stopped the morph, and then just got murdered. Now that's going to also be a dead Ancient Apparition, and they might follow this up with a Leshrac as well. They're going to be moving in. We might see a Lucent Beam. We've got Klinks chasing him down. There's the Klinks at point-blank range. Not nearly enough damage, though. This is a tanky Leshrac, surprisingly enough.
This Klinks is not using Searing Arrows.
Oh, no. That would explain it. And Lesh is going to make it away.
I think the big mistake from the Klinks there was he should have used his bonus movement speed from Skeleton Walk to run past the Leshrac, so that when Leshrac started to run away, you would have to run past where the Klinks was waiting.
It's like a corral. You'd be corralling him in.
Yeah, in this case, the Klinks broke Invis, and then immediately the Leshrac was out of range.
Mm-hmm. There was a rune up for 2 attacks, and it was also the fact that the Leshrac could run uphill.
Oh, this is a valuable tower for the Radiant to be taking. It would have been better earlier, but late is better than never here. They get it. This Luna is getting pretty strong.
That is their second tier 1 tower that they've taken. Brings the teams even in terms of tower count, but the damage to towers is still drastically favoring Radiant.
Mm-hmm. Alright, here's the move on the IO. No
Visage
real escape mechanism here.
Chilling Touch out, the Soul Assumption, but the Relocate is going to disjoint
They're
that.
just going to sit here. They have the whole team. There is no way out unless the IO can tether to the Crystal Maiden. Here come the Radiant to save their carry.
Crystal Maiden's there.
There's
also the Leshrac. Starting the Crystal Maiden ultimate, that's tons of damage. Yeah, Leshrac throwing the ultimate, getting a Split Earth, getting a great kill. They're going to also pick up Wii on this. Luna's going to go down.
Oh man, the Eclipse just barely getting 2 kills before going down. If that Eclipse had come out sooner, it might have been way better.
Wiz took the tier 2 in mid, takes out the Klinks, and is working on the tier 3.
That's a full 5 heroes dead. Oh man, the Dire are just having so much trouble staying alive. They just get nuked down by the long duration Crystal Maiden ult plus the Leshrac. It's just too much magic damage. They need to buy a pipe.
Also what we were talking about with just all of these ranged heroes, they're gonna be squishy. They are squishy.
And none of them want to buy tanky items. They have an offlane Klinks. Like, this is exactly what we're saying with the item embargo. Boy, it'd be great to prevent the other team from buying a pipe, but if they have ranged heroes who don't want to buy a pipe, that's just as good. They don't have any answer to this magic damage.
I think there's also a little bit of like a mentality thing going on, because like, if you play, I'm just going to use Crystal Maiden as an example. You're used to playing this hero in a specific way that means that you're going to have frontliners, you're going to have people who are doing like all of the work that involves buying those support items that are like team benefiting, the auras, the pipe, your mech, etc. And in this situation, like, you're thinking, okay, I'm still Crystal Maiden. I'm not going to buy a pipe. I'm going to buy Force Staff. I'm going to buy Glimmer. I'm going to buy the usual things that this hero builds. When in this case,
Visage has queued up a pipe.
it's a great call for him.
Yeah, this is definitely a case where beginners are less good at this than you would expect from like professional players, because professional players know how to make the adaptation to like, oh, in this particular game I have to do things very differently from usual. For beginners, like, it's so hard already to have a good guide and to build your hero in the correct way. To adjust when the situation is radically different from usual is so tough.
Because I could even, like, yeah, I'm clicking on Clinks right now. I'm looking at his items, but even without looking at it, I could tell you that there is exactly one of two items that he is building right now, and that would be either Desolator or Orchid.
Yeah, there's really not much variability there.
And somebody on the team is going to need to make that, like, diversion from the norm and pick up the pipe, pick up some of the, like, items. It would be a great item to have on the Venge, because it's an aura that she can carry after she dies, even.
Yeah, and Venge Vlad's is a common pickup, but we've already found the Vlad's on the
Visage.
So they have good auras, but they're just a little too late to be building pipe, and the result is that they lost that big fight. They're down 9k at 22 minutes.
And a lot of that, too, comes down to, and again, this is a really brilliant play when it comes to that reverse hero pick. Picking the Visage for the Dire when they just don't understand, like, they don't know how to play the hero, is a gold boon for your team as compared to the Io, where it's just not as effective for the Radiant, if that makes any sense.
Yeah, that carry Io workshop we had a few weeks back, paying dividends now. At this point, Io has Maelstrom. All he has to do is just right-click. It's not hard to play this hero from this point.
They're going to be taking this tier 2 tower in top. There's not really much that they can do in terms of rotation, so we're just seeing bot Dendi actually just farming out some camps, and they're trying to push waves and just get what experience they can. This really feels like it is Jakiros' third head's game to do whatever they want to with it. Dust coming out, Dendi's going to be running uphill. He will make it away. I think they're looking for the shot, just barely missing with the Ancient Apparition Ice Blast.
Who's Bot Dendi? Which player named themselves Bot Dendi?
Bot Dendi is Clinks.
Oh my goodness.
We've got Bot Wee.
I don't know which player on their team that is. I don't know who would name himself Bot Dendi. I don't know their team well enough to recognize what name is missing, but I'm a big fan.
The Split Earth trying to save the Crystal Maiden, but the last searing arrow manages to find the kill and the Lucent Beam.
Yeah, that Lucent Beam closer is so satisfying.
And that ability has such an incredibly long range, and so much more than you would expect it to be.
This is without the cast range talent, without 350 cast range.
Not to jump in on your cast, but Fafford, I can confirm that Bot Dendi is Watermelon.
Ah, Watermelon, of course. That makes sense.
But right now, the Dire team is the medium bots are without 2 of their tier 2 towers. They've already had the Morphling knocking on their tier 3 mid, and he's going to be trying to take out this tier 2 bot. They could lose their outpost at any point in time. They don't have access to Roche, and Dendi bot forced a skeleton walk away as Morphling just happy as a clam. He's going to morph strength. No! Oh, wow.
Almost dies. He's playing it to the limit. He gets stunned while in anti-form and he dies!
Strength and he will fall! He's not going full strength!
He plays it to the limit. He canceled his strength morph and switched a little bit towards Agi, then stopped right as the ice path was coming in. And so he was stuck not strength morphing while stunned, and that's a death sentence. Oh, beautiful Eclipse!
Little Eclipse doing so much
the creep
damage.
The whole thing!
They kill off the Crystal Maiden, but down will go the Luna. Bot Rojo, the Vengeful Spirit, the Ghost, the only thing left alive here. No Visage coming in on the blind side, finishing off the kill. Birds are very low, but the hero's doing fine.
Great fight for the Dire. The Eclipse could have killed everyone there, but the creep that was controlled by the Io, the Hellbear, took like 4 or 5 hits on the Eclipse, and that's the only reason Io survived. that enchanted creep is a perfect answer to Eclipse.
Like I said, I really, even though it's just a very common thing, it just so happens that what you build on Carry IO is an excellent answer to the enemy Luna.
Yeah, it feels really good. I mean, just having that creep with him as well makes a huge difference.
So I think that if Visage stays around, oh no, they're moving away from the tower. They could have gotten this tier 1, it's only at 300 health.
Yeah, it'd probably be worthwhile just for the bonus gold. Although taking the offlane tier 1 is not a hugely high priority. And there, the birds clean it up even while Visage goes to jungle. But that does
If
mean
nothing
the
else,
back for the Radiant.
it makes the control that Jakiro's third head is going to have over Roshan a little bit more tentative. Oh no, Rohobot's getting caught out at the secret shop, and down he will go.
Yeah, a little bit of an overextension there. And now we see BKB finishing up on the IO. He's not going to be afraid of that Eclipse in the future.
We're about 1,300 gold away from a Scotty on the Morphling. That's going to get pretty scary.
Oh yeah, the Scotty is amazing against ranged heroes. There's nothing but ranged heroes in this game. I'm wondering if Clinks or Luna can go for a Scotty themselves.
And Scotty would be fantastic, especially against the Morphling.
Yeah, I mean, Scotty on the Luna would be a really good pickup right now. Clinks, it looks like, is going for the utility of Orchid, which I can't argue with, because it seems like catching the Morphling with no Strength Morph is a doable task, but... Oh, man.
That's another case where it is a good answer that just happens to fall under the bounds of what a hero usually does anyways. So,
All right,
following...
No,
Go
not
ahead.
to interrupt you, but we got tier 3 neutral items, and there's a contract if they can swap them.
Definitely something that is on the table. We're going to see if they're going to pick this up.
Yeah, if they just leave all these neutral items on the ground, which they're doing right now, it'll be real tough to swap them.
I kind of just want to see
lose a spy.
They're in Roshan right now, but I kind of just want to see the all chat message of just, hey, you guys want to swap tier 3s?
We'll see. I think
But,
only one team knows about it, though. The other team doesn't even know that that contract is in play.
Precisely. Oh, Dendybot getting caught by the Yules. You're trying to take down Cats. Cats will survive at the very, very edge. And the fight breaking out over Roshan. Morphling has the Aegis brought back to life immediately. And now, in the middle of all of them, has to Strength Morph, going so slow. Will be brought down by the entire interior of the medium bots.
Oh man, I don't think we have 3k behavior score in this game, but if I'm that Leshrac, I am yelling at my IO. The Leshrac was safe, but he walked back in while the IO was running out, and the Moonglaves bounced from IO to kill Leshrac. That was so rough.
And that's going to be a tier 2 in favor of the medium bots. They might be coming back into this.
This
The
Luna's
Luna
picking up
is
steam.
popping off.
She's got a Scotty queued up. I love it. We really need to see that item. This is getting real scary because you have a carry IO and a Morphling who has taken a lot of deaths, and you have to somehow beat this Luna as she scales.
But what I was talking about before with the Clinks is he's going to get that Orchid, and it's a good answer to the Morphling and some of the other heroes here. You can stop the channel of the Crystal Maiden ultimate. You can prevent the Pulse Nova from starting up on Leshrac, etc., etc. But it's another case where something that a hero tends to get already just happens to be a good answer for the game. So
Yeah.
you can follow Dota Plus, and you're still doing fine.
There it is. Trade tier 3 neutral items offered by the Luna.
I liked the all caps on it too.
We'll see what the Radiant think about that one. Oh, they got an outpost, so it looks like it'll be one outpost for each team here. Both teams must collect all tier 3s first, and they don't have them because they've been leaving them on the ground.
Oh! And you gotta backpack it too. When you pick it up, you gotta put it in your backpack. So Clinks is gonna pick it up, backpack. Yep. Okay, he's gonna send it back to the
But
stash. That's good.
the Radiant had no idea. They didn't know that the tier 3s were going to be traded because they didn't pick the contract. So they've just been leaving their neutral items around.
That's a great point. They're gonna have to go around to all the camps and find them again if they want to do it. They're actually pausing to sort this out.
Pausing to talk it out. Oh my goodness.
I mean, I guess this is a pretty good opportunity, though, to take a look at some of, like, the build paths and just kind of reflect on the game state as a whole.
I mean, right now, if you take a look at the net worth chart, it was looking 10k net worth lead for the Radiant is down to 5, and I don't think it's going up from here. This is really scary situation. Just the momentum is going to the Dire, even though the net worth lead is still with the Radiant.
I think this might actually be the closest game that we've had in NA so far, in terms of, like, net worth at 30 minutes in.
Yeah, it's looking like a really even match. This tier 2 is, under threat, but they're going to keep it alive for now.
Yep.
This IO on his way to Ags could be pretty strong, but here we go. Team fight coming in.
Ice Path on 2, Macropyre on 2, they're gonna catch the Morphling, drag him back into the Macropyre, he waveforms away, morphing strength the whole way, down goes the Leshrac, bringing the Venge with her as well.
Oh, the BKB wears out and the IO is gone. Fantastic fight, just the damage from the Eclipse, and then the Clinks coming in with that Deso and Orchid complete. It's so threatening. Oh, and here we go. Orchid, does he have any damage? No, he's just out of range.
They caught him on the sentry ward as he was coming in. They also have the Dust out now, too. The Miner slow onto Clinks, waveform away through the creeps as Wiz. They set up
look at that Ghost Scepter.
And this might be... That's a kill on Dandybot. A lot of damage off that Adaptive Strike.
Didn't respect the Ice Blast right in his face. He keeps fighting and he pays the price for it. That Ghost Scepter pickup on the Ancient Apparition is incredible. Not only do you have massive burst damage coming out from this Clinks, but you also have the Luna, who is an incredible physical damage dealer. I don't think you can survive in these fights without a Ghost Scepter.
At the same time, though, if you have the Ghost Scepter and Eclipse goes, you are just a sitting duck.
Yeah, you need Ghost Scepter and BKB, maybe. Although you can't actually have both at once, I'm pretty sure, so... One and then the other.
Oh yeah, I think you're right. I think the BKB will purge the Ghost Scepter.
Yeah, I mean, you certainly aren't allowed to be immune to magic and physical damage at the same time.
That would just be broken.
That would be a little bit busted. But, I mean, just the ability to have both at the proper moments. Like, you don't need to deal with Eclipse and Clinks bursting you at the same time unless you're in the middle of a fight. And at that point, you know, whatever. You just die.
Mm-hmm. You kind of expect that if Eclipse is going in the middle of a fight, things are going to blow up. Titan Sliver for the Radiant. They're going to send that back to their base, as per the neutered rule. But they are collecting their tier 3s.
Yeah, talk about teams surprisingly not having Ghost Scepter. This Morphling. No Ghost Scepter, no Ethereal Blade. He could really use some resistance to physical damage from the Luna.
Apparently, they're missing one of their neutrals. It's an unknown position.
We have it.
They actually stole the the quiver.
Are they going to deliver it back to the other team? Or do they just keep it?
This is surprisingly civil for how bloody this game has been.
Well, this contract was not made for a game where teams can't even use the neutral items. The teams have no attachment to them, so they're so cooperative.
It's probably the best time for it.
Oh my goodness, here they are. They're putting them down. One accidental auto attack while they drop off their neutral items.
IO though.
I mean, at this point, you could just drop all 8 and then you don't have to pick them up again. It's fine to just leave them there.
Yeah. I'm sorry. I'm not trying to just laugh and not for nothing else, but this is just an exercise in absurdity. It's a festival of folly as we're seeing them run around each other.
Alright, they completed the full item swap. The teams cooperate and they don't fight while it happens. In the meantime, the net worth lead for the Radiant is still just slipping away.
Gotta ask, do you have like a specific voice that you hear when you're reading Mr. Garlick's like administrative talk? Is it like
I pretty well just hear Mr. Garlick's voice. I've heard him give enough speeches.
I kind of am hearing actually like Gladys from Portal, or maybe like Wesley, the other bot.
Oh, that's a pretty good choice. I would take that.
The smoke out for the Dire. They're cutting through the jungle of the Radiant. They're not going to find anybody because everybody is in the top lane trying to push this in.
And
So they're going
Roxy
to catch
is
them rounds
walking
behind.
straight forward into the danger zone. This is a very scary place for him to be walking, considering they just found the other team wasn't in their own jungle at all.
And walks in front of the outpost, revealing that he is there. They should be rotating in. Birds being the vanguard on this fight. Ice Path out, whipping everywhere. The Macropyre catching a few. Eclipse out. There's so much damage. The Crystal Maiden ultimate as well. Freezing Field. Down goes the Crystal Maiden. Down goes the Leshrac. And that looks amazing for the Dire team. The medium bots coordinating as only bots can. As if they are a hive mind, as if they're played by one AI.
Oh, look at the damage stat on that Luna. The Eclipse is big and the physical damage is even bigger. This Luna is such a huge damage dealer at this point. And the Morphling went down right away. Remember early on, out of the laning stage, it was the Luna and the Morphling that were the two powerful heroes. But this Morphling has no E-Blade, isn't able to burst people down, and he can't survive in fights to pump out the physical damage. Meanwhile, this Luna, the glaives are bouncing between the Crystal Maiden and the Leshrac and the Io and the Morphling, and they're all going down together. Scotty is complete.
What do you think we need to see from the Morphling in terms of build? He's going for a BKB right now. He's about 2,500, 3,000 gold away. But,
BKB is a good start, but, I mean, he just doesn't do major right-click damage. I mean, E-Blade is a huge right-click item, but also a burst item. The purpose of E-Blade on the typical Morphling build is to bridge the gap, so eventually you can be 6-slotted as a right-clicker, but until you get to that point, you want to have some way to just pick off heroes, burst them down full to zero. Without the ability to do that, the Morphling isn't a threat.
Do we think that maybe a Butterfly is the idea for the Morphling right now? A little bit extra damage, a little bit of attack speed, and the evasion?
Yeah, I could see that being a great choice. I mean, considering you're getting stuck in right-click wars with the Luna, you really need that extra evasion and that damage. At this point, I think it's kind of late to go back for E-Blade, so even if it would have been a good item earlier, at this point he needs to get that right-click online. Butterfly Satanic.
And we're going to see all of Dire taking the outpost away. There's still 2.5 minutes before the outpost will pop, but they were hunting the Morphling in the bottom lane. They're not going to find him as the Io helps him relocate away.
Net worth chart has come all the way down to the Dire's favor. Experience 10k in favor of the Dire. The momentum is still just going with the Dire. I don't see how they're going to outscale this Luna. They don't have anyone tanky enough to survive it. The Morphling dies first in fights despite all his HP.
Yeah, this is looking really, really difficult, and this Luna has just exploded. Bounty's going out now. I think this is just a matter of you find 1 or 2 good fights, you get a Roshan pickup on the Dire, and then you just push high ground and win it.
Oh, that Observer Ward placement by the Ancient Apparition saw the Dire movement. The Leshrac know that they're coming.
And Lesh is ducking into the woods away from everybody. He has TP available, but wants to wait a moment and see if you can get away with it. Nope, they're going to TP back to the mid lane.
But Io has a relocate, and Luna has found it.
Oh my.
And she brings
That's going to be devastating. The TP starts up.
They bring the Morphling back too! They didn't realize that the Luna was waiting at the return point, so the Morphling is relocated to certain death, and that's a dieback.
And there's the Scotty as well. Like, that Luna's Scotty is preventing any kind of regen from the Morphling. It's such a strong counter.
I mean, yeah, and just the slow against ranged heroes is so value this game that this seems like the perfect item, and the Luna is getting huge value for it, and she's the one going for the Butterfly, and she's gonna have it soon.
That they can just win off of this push with the dieback.
I mean, Luna, we said this team has 5 building-taking heroes, and this very farmed Luna is certainly going to be good at it. You got 75 seconds of guaranteed no buyback Morphling.
I think it's, they've got 5 good heroes at pushing towers, and this Luna's 6 of them right now.
Yeah, we'll see if the Radiant can do anything to defend. Ice Blast is a great start, but it's going to miss most of them, and the Ancient Apparition pays with his life.
Good swap in, leaving him plenty vulnerable. Down go the Racks in a
50
heartbeat.
seconds, and they can go Throne. I don't think you need to bother with the other lanes. This Luna is in.
Buyback from the Ancient Apparition. Yeah, down goes the Leshrac. Buyback as well. Bloomer, the Crystal Maiden, starting up the Freezing Field. gets stunned out of it. Now the Yules. And this is, we might see the Venge die. The Venge does go down, but I think that's going to be all there is. Wee is low on the back line, has to retreat out of this. They're trying to nuke him down. There's no damage left. You're going to see the Frostbite doing a little more damage. Now,
there's the
Ice Blast, and down goes Luna!
Oh, they stayed too long. When they got those first couple kills, they thought it was great, but those buybacks and they dive tier 4s against 4 heroes, and they are punished for it. This is a case of respecting the buybacks.
Not only that, respecting some of the heroes that you've been sleeping on, especially that Ancient Apparition, getting that finisher.
I want to highlight the Leshrac. The Leshrac pumped out an enormous amount of damage in that fight, getting an ultra kill. That wouldn't have happened if Leshrac had just died first with no buyback. The buyback is critical because they spent their burst damage getting rid of Leshrac, and then they got ultra killed by Leshrac.
Precisely. Now, that not going to have that buyback for another 8 minutes, but we're seeing the buybacks popping out now. You got to get that tower and run. Time to go, ladies.
That is a huge investment, including the Luna. This Luna has no buyback now for 8 minutes, and the Butterfly is going to be significantly set back.
Oh, there's the Crow. They're going to hit the Crow. Oh, the Crow's not going down.
And they're just going to backdoor tier 2, no problem. Oh, this is anyone's game after a Luna buyback like that. That's so costly. They had to get out after those couple kills.
If they would have gotten the Crow, it would have completely upended her progression. 3 minutes without the ability to get that Butterfly because it had the Eagle Song and the Quarterstaff on it.
I think the bigger issue we're seeing is that Luna doesn't need Butterfly nearly so much as she needs Satanic. That last fight, she was in there, she was hitting people, she was strong, but she just didn't have any regen. Over the course of pushing the enemy base, she got lower and lower and lower until she died. If she had a Satanic, she could stay all day long.
I think she thinks that she's okay with just the Morbid Mask, but because of the fact that you do actually have the Scotty on the Morphling, as well as the Ancient Apparition's Ice Blast, it makes it a lot harder than you would expect to regen up.
You need to regen up while the Ice Blast isn't on you, for sure. This Luna stayed around too long last time. Once she's fighting on low health, suddenly it doesn't feel like she's so powerful. She's supposed to be the highest net worth by a large margin. But that doesn't apply if you're on half health.
They watched the relocate come in, bailed out of there, especially because there was also an Ice Blast coming in, smoke up and go directly back into the pit. Adaptive Strike going out on the Vengeful Spirit.
That's a great play. That's 2 ultimates used by the Radiant, and now the IO, who's the carry for the Radiant, isn't even here. So they can't contest Roche, and they're still walking in. They're going to take the fight.
Going crazy, that waveform in with the BKB, but the Morphling just absolutely melting to the Scotty Luna, and now Cats using the Yules to try and deal more damage. The BKB out, but down will go Leshrac. No heroes die for the Dire.
Oh no, that's an Ice Blast pop on the Venge, very late. The Ice Blast was huge. If there had been heroes alive to follow it up, it would have been amazing for the Radiant. Unfortunately, this Morphling just cannot stand against Luna.
The last Radiant buyback has been used. Crystal Maiden is back into the game. Will it be enough? The freezing field is on cooldown. All we have is Crystal Nova and Frostbite and a Force Staff.
Last time they held off the power of an ultra kill from the Leshrac, who is now dead for 80 seconds with no buyback. And this Luna has an Aegis.
They're doing so much damage to the Luna's first life. They will take the first life, but the Ancient Apparition dies in exchange for it. And now Luna is back, taking a lot of damage still from those spirits, but will just be going in, lucid beaming.
The IO Ags putting in great work. This IO Ags is actually keeping them alive for the moment, but it's not going to last. The building is melting.
And down goes the Ancient.
See you later, nerds! There it is from the Visage. Oh my goodness, and that is in fact elimination for Jakiros' third head.
It looks like the 2 heads have defeated the third. The medium bots will move on, and they will be looking for a run back in the North American Grand Finals coming at you tomorrow.
Actually, I think they'll be playing against the first place team from Europe, which has not yet been determined.
This was still losers bracket, so I think they've got to finish off the
Well, no, 2 teams from the North American bracket advance. 1 team through the upper
okay.
bracket and 1 through the lower bracket, and then they'll both play against the 2 teams from Europe. So this
I
means...
didn't understand the format.
Yeah, we'll get medium bots against the first place European team as probably the 3rd match of the day, or maybe the 4th match of the day tomorrow.
That's going to be really exciting. We're going to have an intercontinental battle to see who will be victorious. But that is all we've got for you tonight.
Yeah,
So
that's our last match of the day.
I would love to thank everybody who's been with us all day. We have been casting Dota with Dota University in this Dota but with a twist, in Spies and Sabotage, all day. And we will be with you tomorrow for the grand finals in Southeast Asia in the morning, and then we have the combined finals for North America and EU in the afternoon.
Yep, Southeast Asia is starting up in just 6 hours, I believe.
So we are about to take a 6-hour break. We're gonna get what little bit of sleep that we can, and we are gonna be back here to provide you those final games. Cool.